Nomadic Fanatic has a wood dilemma, and Mike builds a lookout tower. All right, let's start with line screw 1. Line screw. Well, he always kind of shoots straight when it comes to the RV stuff. There's lots of people that talk about the RV life and they blow sunshine up your ass and they say this and that and the other thing, and it's the greatest, it's cheap, it's free, it's easy, it's this and that. Well, line screw, he doesn't BS you. He tells you exactly what it's like, and he's been living the lifestyle for 11 years now, so he does have a little bit of an insight, and so he does kind of know what he's talking about, I would think. And, you know, he says stuff like, you know, first of all, if you're going to go from, say, for him, from Canada to LA or someplace, it's a lot cheaper to take that $300 flight than it is to put the fuel in an RV and drive it, and then you got to get there, and then you have to wait, and then you got to find a place to stay and pay for that and this. And he says just simple things that it's a lot cheaper to do stuff like that. And, you know, just a lot of common sense things. And I know a lot of people are going to say stuff like, well, why are you paying for full hookups anyway? You don't need that. Why are you paying for it? Well, see, there's a lot of people that, you know, in this day and age, they prefer to live instead of just merely exist, you know. So some people like to turn on the air conditioner and cook and, you know, do things besides sit in a parking lot of Walmart. So, yeah, but he talks about a lot of stuff. It's a good little video, interesting. He also talks about the impact of social media on the RV lifestyle and the nomads. For instance, we all know, look, when this was a new thing, you seen people going here and there and everywhere, and it was like everything was just gorgeous. But then they started saying, well, look at this place, look at that place. Look, I'll put a pin, I'll put the GPS coordinates. And then 2-3 years later, they go back, no overnight parking, or there's big rocks there, or it's gone altogether, or whatever, or somebody bought the nice little out of the way park and jacked the prices up and did all kinds of things because the YouTubers and everyone else and the Instagrammers, but the YouTubers, their need for constant content outweighed their desire to have a nice, quiet, out of the way place to go camp. So they posted it and told everybody about it and got on their little apps and everything else. And now it is no more. And he talks about stuff like that. So yeah, pretty interesting, pretty nice little video, I think. And, yeah, so he also talks about, you know, the upkeep, that there's constant upkeep and things break a lot. And it's a vehicle. And yes, I know if you have a house, you have upkeep and things go wrong too. But when you're in a vehicle and you're bouncing that thing around and you're driving it, things, and they're not, again, it's in the name, recreational vehicle. It's not meant to be lived in. So when you live in it and you're driving it and you're bouncing it and you're beating it around all the time, things wear out quicker and they fall apart and all that good stuff. So again, yes, no matter what you have to, you have upkeep, but it's just one of those things where it's not free. It's not cheap. It's not that much better. It's different, but again, you know, anyway, good video. And, I think it's a lot easier for single folks as well, as opposed to, couples, because, you know, and there's two people in that little small space and everything, but it's neither here nor there. But it would appear anyway that more people, as I continue to watch the nomads or the wheeled wonders, as I call them, more people are doing like Mike. You know, they're using their RV as like a stationary little tiny house, so to speak. So speaking of Mike, let's talk about him. His, home on wheels no longer travels. He doesn't drive that thing around. It's, like I said, it's a stationary little tiny house of sorts, right? He's built structures around it. He's got his solar, he's got his water storage and all that other kind of stuff around it. So it's really not an RV so much anymore as a, stationary unit, a little apartment on wheels or something like that. But yeah, that's what Mikey's doing. And a lot of other people are doing the same thing if you actually pay attention. Is it right? Is it wrong? Is it good? Is it bad? That's up to the individual as always. But, I think the roaming and constant traveling is going away for many reasons, too many to get into right now. But speaking of Mike and his structures, Mike built another structure. That's right. Him and Josh built one of Mikey's infamous lookout towers. That's right. He built another one. He had one on his other property, but this one isn't quite as tall. But however, it is a nice little platform to go out and look. And I have to admit, it's not that bad of a view once you get up there above the trees and things. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. I'll give him a shout out. I'll give him an attaboy for that one. Now, as I recently said, that I think Mike has gotten out of his funk since Josh appeared and Josh is around. I think, it's just that Josh is there and Josh helps with, he has the truck, so he helps with the truck getting stuff and of course some labor. And, Mike is actually getting stuff done now. Those countless hours of doom scrolling is now spent actually doing projects. So it's kind of good to see. It's good to see. So as the two new buddies, they go around Mike's property doing little projects. It's nice to see. And this last one, look, see, Mike, see, you bought some supplies and built something without waiting for donations to roll in. I knew you could do it. I knew you could do it. Yes, I did. See, doesn't it feel good when you actually do it yourself and don't rely on others to be self-sufficient? But that does lead me to this question. And I'm just curious. I'm not trying to pry. It's just one of those little things that popped up. I wonder how Josh makes his money, because Josh seems to be there at Mike's all the time, and he bought a solar system and this and that and everything, and of course they got to put fuel in that truck because they're running it to death to get Mike's stuff. So it just made me stop and wonder, like, come to think of it, I wonder how Josh makes his money. Leave me a comment. What do you think? Speaking of money, let's talk about the little guy who spends it all the time. No, not Tim.
You see that little check mark?
Yeah, that guy, Nomadic Fanatic. Now, he has a bit of a wood dilemma. See, he ran out of the planks that he got at that great price because he bought it from some dude online who had some left over from a project. Now, he did go to one of the big box stores, Home Depot, I do believe it was, and got some that were similar. Now, Tater claims that he came up short because there was a little bit of a mix-up between square feet and linear feet because the guy apparently sold the boards in linear feet, listed them in linear feet. And I know when I had the sawmill and we cut, we measured in board feet. And it wasn't square feet. So Tater was measuring in square feet and it was linear feet. And I don't know, he said, but that's his excuse of why he ran out. And he came up short. And let's see what we have. The other thing is, the planks are also 5 inches that he got. And then the big box store ones that he has to get is they're 6 inches. So there's a little bit of difference there. Now, we all know Tater likes to do things his way, whether it's correct or not. And he always has his little sayings. But this time, it actually worked in Tater's favor by doing it ass backwards. You see, Tater, the tongue of his planks fit in the groove of the new, but the tongue of the new ones don't fit into his. So since he put it in backwards, he can actually put the things in and use it, backwards. The tongue will actually work. But anyway, if he'd have done it the right way, it wouldn't have worked out as easily. But Tater still has another problem. That wasn't it. Once he got the tongue in the groove thing figured out, that was only half of the issue, because, see, once he took the new ones and stained, well, they looked way different. They weren't even close. And I don't want to sound, Mr. Know-It-All, but when he held the two up together, you could tell the grain and the greenish part of the ones that he got compared to the store-bought ones that were planed down different, and I could tell that it wasn't going to take the stain the same way. The grain and the porousness of the one, it just didn't match up. But I mean, hey, what anybody would have thought, let's give it a try. So I won't ding him too hard on that. But so he even tried to take some of the old ones that like the scrap stuff that he got and that the guy stained like black or dark, and he tried to sand it and stain it, and it still doesn't match up and doesn't look right. So he'll be left with like a big strip that is like 2.5 or 3 rows of a different color. And yeah, that would drive me nuts and it would look bad. So I wouldn't do it either. But yeah, so that's Tater's dilemma that he has, even though he figured out the tongue and the groove part. But, now he did say that he has more. He contacted the guy that he got the original ones from, and he hooked him up with the supplier that he got the stuff from for his little project at his house, that he had these leftover ones. So Tater, I guess, bought some, and hopefully they'll match and they're on their way, but you just never know. Which leads me to this. Okay, first of all, whenever you buy materials, you always overbuy for a couple of reasons. One, in case your measurements are off, and the other thing is you don't, not that this applies to his ceiling, but you don't well, these windows are, well, so we'll subtract that. No, you do a whole wall and you get material for that, and then you add on a little bit extra. That way you have some, again, if you messed up on the calculations, or if something happens, you keep that stuff, and down the road, I don't know, you're moving something, you ding it and you bang one or you break one or whatever. It's just like paint. You always have some leftover paint for touch-ups, right? Well, always leave a couple extra tile or whatever for those little mishaps. But here's what I would have done if I was Tater. And yes, it would have probably been a lot more work, but since they did use screws and not nails, I would have taken some of the boards down and I would have randomized that pattern. In other words, I would have sporadically put in the different dark ones, even if I had to shave an inch off of those 6-inch ones and make them 5-inch to fit in. They're screwing them and everything up there anyway. So that's what I would have done. I would have just went ahead and used what I had, what I already spent money on. And I would have just did a little bit of extra labor and took some down, moved them around. So when you looked up, it wasn't all one color and then just a little strip. I'd have just sporadically thrown them through. And in this nautical boat theme, I think it would have fit right in and looked pretty good. But hey, you don't have to believe me. You leave me a comment and you don't have to agree, but you know how we do it around here.
From Victoria Station in London, this is Blind Views, and that's the way I see it.
What we do here is go back.